What if the most reliable electric vehicle ever built was never the one the media told you to buy? What if the car that professional mechanics, the people who see every flaw and failure up close, actually choose for themselves has been hiding in plain sight this whole time? This is not a story about marketing budgets or celebrity endorsements. This is about cold, hard, real-world durability tested over hundreds of thousands of miles by the people who know exactly what breaks and exactly what does not. The Toyota RAV4 Prime is not just a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. It is the result of over 2 decades of Toyota's obsession with building a drivetrain so resilient that even the most skeptical mechanics in America quietly drive one home at night. And before we go any further, if this kind of deep dive automotive truth is exactly what you have been looking for, hit that subscribe button right now, drop a like on this video, and tell us in the comments below which electric or hybrid vehicle you currently drive or wish you owned. Your answers might just end up shaping our next video, so we genuinely want to hear from you. To understand why the RAV4 Prime became the vehicle mechanics trust with their own money, you have to go back to 1997. The year Toyota launched the original Prius and quietly began an experiment that would last nearly 30 years. Most people think of the Prius as just a fuel-efficient commuter car, but engineers inside Toyota saw it as a living laboratory, a real-world stress test conducted by millions of ordinary drivers across every climate on Earth. By the time the RAV4 Prime arrived in 2020, Toyota had accumulated more hybrid drivetrain data than any other manufacturer in automotive history, with over 15 million hybrid vehicles sold globally. The Prius had already proven that Toyota's nickel metal hydride and later lithium-ion battery systems could survive extreme heat in Phoenix, brutal winters in Minnesota, and the relentless stop-and-go punishment of Los Angeles traffic without significant degradation. But what makes this even more fascinating is a detail almost nobody in the mainstream automotive press bothered to report. Toyota engineers designed the RAV4 Prime's battery thermal management system using lessons learned not just from the Prius, but from analyzing warranty claims across every hybrid model they had ever built, engineering out failure modes one by one like a surgeon removing each problem before it could ever appear. Now here is where things get genuinely interesting, because the RAV4 Prime does something that almost no other plug-in hybrid on the market does at its price point. It runs on a combined system output of 302 horsepower, which means it accelerates from 0 to 60 miles per hour in approximately 5.4 seconds, making it faster than a base Porsche Macan from just a few years ago. But raw speed was never really the point. The point is what happens after 100,000 miles, after 200,000 miles, in markets like Australia and Japan where RAV4 Prime owners have already documented their experiences on public forums with shocking consistency. The battery degradation data coming out of real-world ownership is almost unbelievably low, with many owners reporting less than 3% capacity loss after years of daily charging and discharging. And while other electric vehicle manufacturers were still arguing about thermal management philosophies, Toyota had already solved the problem quietly, without a press release, without a viral launch event. If this kind of hidden engineering story is blowing your mind as much as it is blowing ours, subscribe right now, give this video a like, share it with a friend who is obsessed with cars or trying to figure out their next vehicle purchase, and drop a comment telling us what surprised you the most so far, because we are only halfway through and the most jaw-dropping details are still ahead. Most drivers never realize that the RAV4 Prime carries a secret weapon buried inside its architecture that has nothing to do with electricity. The vehicle uses Toyota's fourth-generation hybrid system paired with a 2.5-liter four-cylinder Atkinson cycle engine, a design that sacrifices some power at low RPM in exchange for dramatically improved thermal efficiency at the exact operating range where most daily driving actually happens. In simple terms, the engine only works hard when the physics demand it, and the electric motors handle everything else, which means the combustion components experience far less wear per mile than in a conventional gasoline vehicle. Independent mechanics who have torn down high-mileage RAV4 Prime units have reported finding engine internals that look almost new at 150,000 miles, a finding that tracks directly with Toyota's warranty data showing engine-related claims on hybrid models running roughly 40% lower than on comparable non-hybrid vehicles. And there is one more layer to this story that goes even deeper. The RAV4 Prime's electric all-wheel drive system, which sends torque independently to the rear wheels using a dedicated rear electric motor, has no mechanical connection whatsoever to the front drivetrain, meaning there is no transfer case, no prop shaft, and no center differential to wear out, break down, or leak. It is all-wheel drive with almost zero of the traditional mechanical complexity that has historically made AWD systems expensive to maintain. But there is one detail almost nobody talks about when it comes to the RAV4 Prime, and it might be the single most important reason mechanics choose it over a fully electric alternative. In areas where the charging infrastructure is unreliable, where apartment living makes overnight charging impossible, or where a road trip of 500 miles in a single day is a real-life requirement, a fully battery electric vehicle creates anxiety. The RAV4 Prime eliminates that anxiety completely. With approximately 42 miles of pure electric range for daily commuting needs, the average American driver can complete their entire workweek without ever visiting a gas station. But when the battery is depleted, there is no waiting, no searching for a charging station, and no range anxiety because a full hybrid powertrain seamlessly takes over, delivering real-world fuel economy consistently above 38 miles per gallon on the highway. This dual-mode capability is not a compromise. In the hands of a disciplined driver, it is mathematically the most cost-efficient powertrain combination ever sold in a midsize SUV, and several fleet operators in Europe and Canada have already reported total ownership costs per mile that undercut both diesel alternatives and fully electric competitors when real-world charging availability is factored in. The vehicle does not ask you to change your life around it. It changes itself around your life, and that is a philosophy that very few automakers have had the patience and engineering depth to actually deliver. So after everything you have just heard, after the engineering secrets, the mechanics who vote with their own wallets, the battery data that defies expectations, and the powertrain philosophy that took 30 years to perfect, the question is no longer whether the RAV4 Prime is the most reliable electric adjacent vehicle on the market. The real question is why it took this long for the conversation to start. Toyota built something that works for real people in the real world without requiring a revolution in infrastructure, a tolerance for range anxiety, or a leap of faith into unproven technology. They built it slowly, methodically, and with the kind of quiet confidence that only comes from having already solved most of the problems before the product ever reached the showroom floor. And that is exactly why when a mechanic, someone who has seen every warning light, every failed module, and every cracked battery cell up close, chooses a vehicle for their own family, this is increasingly the one they choose. If this video changed the way you think about electric vehicles or gave you information you had never heard before, please subscribe to the channel right now, leave a like, share this video with someone who is on the fence about going electric or hybrid, and tell us in the comments what detail from this video surprised you the most. We read every single comment, and your perspective genuinely helps us create the content that matters most to this community.